I would like to propose Councillor Clark. I'll second that, Julie. Okay. Any nominations? Good. All those in favour of Councillor Clark, raise your hand. Any objections? Any abstentions? Congratulations. Thank you. Very much. There's the board. You change this. Now it's that's not. So thank you. Level. Which is good. So it needs to thank you. Okay, all right, thank you very much. Sorry, let's do an election of vice chair. I would like to welcome the chair, Philip Dow as vice chair. Do you have any nomination? Well, second this. I'd like to second Councillor Danson. Any objections? Any other nominations? Would like to take a vote on that? So that's it. Councillor Dow, I can join me. Very much. Councillor Dow, you to sign? No. Let's move on then. Proceed. Councillor Eve and Seth. Declarations of interest. Any declarations of interest? Excellent. Good. Okay, so any interest? No. That's right. To receive any requests for compensation? Thank you very much. Community safety update. So we've received a report from the police. No, the police. The police are understaffed at the moment because long-term movements. Right. Right. Okay. And how about from our NCSOs? And we've all seen a copy of that, have we? Any rights on that particularly? I'd just like to commend that dedicated service to the community. Thank you very much. And we move on. So the annual business procedures, standing orders, item 6. So minimal amendments to any standing orders? Yes, do you mind? It was quite big between last year, 2 pages. This year, very minimal. Our passports in some areas, the member information with the text highlighted in both documents are the amendments and the text highlighted in red under the meetings. I'll take any questions. Thank you. Any questions about any chat? Yeah, I've got one suggestion for on page 6. It's item I. We still have the instruction to stand when members are speaking, and it gives a get out for those people with a disability who are unable to stand. I think to be more inclusive, we should remove the instruction to stand and have everyone speaking in a seated position, given that we do that anyway. So I think that just makes it much more equitable. Thank you. Do you have an agreement on that? Yes. Yes, Chair. Yeah. You do it? Yes. Accepted. Thank you very much. Thank you. Councillor, that's great. Thank you. Okay, so we now move on to restaurant committee membership. Is that right? Or should we do the financial regulation? No, it's a text and radio, that's fine. So 602, ratify committee membership for 26-27. Number of committees have 8%. Yeah. The financial regulations, what I'm asking therefore just to pay attention to page 18, which outlines how the level control facilities. Yeah. They are fine at the minute as testified to by our internal auditor, but I'd just like a comment from them that they confirm to be everything again and I can repeat them out of the auditor. Members of the end, any comments on that? It's very helpful to support it. You're good. Thank you very much. Sorry. Oh, the bank is okay, yes, confirming Lloyd's.
Yeah,
Okay. Do we confirm the lawyers pay us back? So, we were that numbers? We are indeed. Thank you so much, John. Oh yeah, the GPC, general power of competence to confirm this council continues to meet the requirements of use of power of first resort. Now, Mr. Confirmed, we agree. Thank you very much. Right. Thank you very much. Thanks, Jim. Okay, the annual business procedures. So standing orders we've done, and financial regulations, banks, DPC. So let's point to the following committees for the forthcoming council year. So amenities committee. I just list out the names of those that I've got. Now that would be useful, would it?
Yes, we got what we've all got.
It has.
Because we've got written down, and that's something to change.
Yeah. No, that's not suggestion.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
I noticed there's still some vacancies.
There is. We'll get into that, yeah.
I noticed there's two on the Climate Emergency Committee.
Yeah.
I think we should consider that coming up, because obviously it's what we need to do office hours. But if it's able to put aside 5-10%, just to make sure we always nothing to do.
Oh, thank you very much. Multinational.
Yeah.
Right. We have one other vacancy on that.
I'm good for that.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. And GPNH, we have a vacancy as well. Any volunteers?
Just to say, you make a member can be asked to go in time to the business.
Yeah.
So we can.
All right. We'll do that then. In that case, if that's okay. Everybody happy with that? Okay, those seconds. And seconded and agreed. Thank you very much. Good. Okay. Right. So now, if we move on to representatives to outside bodies, we have on the block again, haven't we?
Andrew, if you could just to point out a couple there. Number 7, local cycling and walking, there was a vacancy. There's also a vacancy on the youth licence with Park Authority Panel. And Port Salford Committee has one space, 2 members are volunteers, so we just need to do some vote on which one.
Okay.
Oh, is there something happened?
Yeah, we're all sort of in 3 days. That's all right. So I think discussion.
So just for the minutes, Councillor Nicky John to be appointed to the Port Salford Committee. Yeah.
I'm quite happy to go on the lead by session part one if we're not going to have someone there. Happy to share the later if someone's available.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, I'm happy to go on the LC with. Local cycling.
Okay, thank you.
excellent. Thank you very much. Ben. Sorry, Ben.
Yes, just one point about people who are acting on outside bodies, and I've certainly made this what I'm saying myself. It's very helpful. Whoever is representing this council on these outside bodies will produce a written report with as much detail as you feel able to provide to this council, because I have not seen relating to several outside bodies. So information is gold. We need to know what's going on. So I encourage everybody, I'll do this myself, the LC committee and the HPHA. Make note of what is said and don't assume just because you know it, it's not new to you, that it will not be used to anyone else.
Excellent point of view. Certainly support that. I'll do my best. With one of the Councillor.
Yeah, I would only say to that there are some of the outside bodies where what's discussed in the meetings I don't really think is suitable for broadcast. I'm on the Handy Trust, and there's not a lot of that I really feel I should be divulging here. So particularly when it's to do with personnel and so on and so forth. So I take your point, but I think there are some that it may not be quite so appropriate.
Councillor White.
It's just compare on that, and again, if there's any, as you say, financial issues or isolation concern, we were lost there, not reports and shots being so forth. And ultimately, guidance of how we can share with the shots legal director for one. Just information, self-expression, I'm happy to be on it. Most always meet outside. So our attendance isn't always great because we have tried on occasions we drive straight from the expressway, but it often reaches the same thing. And same time.
Very good question. Thank you. Councillor.
I just want to point out the two I'm on, Families Matter is an annual AGM. And the other one, the Unity Fund, that usually meets on the morning rather than in the evening. So, apart from brief verbal update, I don't know if you, Councillor Woodsford, I don't know if you'd like to a post here what each of those does at some point with it.
Thank you very much. We'll take that up outside, perhaps. Right. So moving on. We haven't got any other issues regarding external. We're all happy now. We are. That's great. So let's now move on to the approval of the minutes of the meeting held on the 22nd of May. Any issues? I'll take it on block. No. We accept those?
Happy to second.
All right, thank you very much. Announcement to the chair, Sean.
I'll say something for you.
No, I don't do anything. I'm going to ask the meeting this particular point because we have guests here this evening and Forest together, which is further down the report. Whether you would be content to bring that up the agenda. Super, you have any agenda?
I'm proposing
You propose
that.
Good idea. Okay, excellent. James.
Thank you for allowing us to escape the heat wave. Thank you, General. Congratulations on your election. So most of you by now know about the campaign, the New Forest Together campaign. Our purpose is quite simple. We have been trying to work with the district council, with parish and town councils, with businesses and accountants to make sure that we can frustrate the process as much as possible in relation to the implementation of option 1A, which, as you know, 97% of our residents were against and opposed, and the majority of the councils actually the parishes and the districts and towns were opposed to. To frustrate that process either through means of non-compliance with MHCLG to an extent, but also through a judicial review. And so what our letter to you has explicitly stated, correct me if I'm wrong here, if you want to come from a review, Tim wrote it, if I make it tonight. It's a couple of things. One was to endorse the campaign, basically, to try and keep the New Forest together in a unit. I mean, as the council way said, right, unitarisation is coming, but it's what that authority looks like, which is important to us. We want the United New Forest in that new authority. So to endorse that, to endorse the sharing of the petition, which actually you as a council have already been doing, my thanks to Sean and the team, because that's been out in your boards. So keep doing that and to make it share on social media. For the purposes of us obtaining Westminster Hall debate with Sir Julian, we're at a point now we're getting very close to the figure we need 25,000 to 30,000 signatures to strike that debate in the House, so that we can start with a coalition of cross-party MPs at the Westminster level as well to try and look at this again. So that's basically what we're asking for, Chair. A huge support campaign as best you feel able. We very much appreciate your endorsement. You would follow a number of local town and parish councils, Brockenhurst, Lyndhurst, Orley, Marchwood, Netley, Marks, Copperthorne, Ashurst, Branshaw, and others. So to have your endorsement as well, particularly as a waterside council, which is going to be effective for this, and whose community are absolutely opposed to this, would be much appreciated. One final thing I did a bit in the letter, it does say to support the action which was instigated, the legal process initiated by the district council. We still welcome that. We still welcome the fact that the council wants to have their council's opinion returned. We as a campaign fervently disagree with the council's opinion. We have sought our own barrister in advance, actually, the council's opinion, who argues that we do have, there is a case for the financial and public services element of the criteria, which she believes has been failed, and therefore we endorse obviously the work of the county in that matter. But nonetheless, we're still supporting great the district for what they've initiated, and it ain't yet. Thank you, Chair.
That's very good. Thank you very much. Members, any questions for Alex?
Sorry, my understanding is there was a second request as well in regards to meeting in a roadshow in the follow-up letter.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Sorry, I
Thank you. You're quite right. Yes,
we want to mention that later, but
no, you're very kind. Yeah. So we're doing a roadshow across the New Forest to try and get this out to the community. And the parish councils have been really supportive in helping promote this and fund it actually. So we're going to multiple areas across the New Forest to try and just sort of articulate and explain to the public why we are where we are, what actually the plan is, why we consider it valid, what the options are available to us moving forward, and to raise awareness and build support for the campaign. And I believe that Tim's been in touch with you, Sean, and the offer initially that we asked for actually was to utilise the parish hall. But quite rightly, I think, Sean, you identified that we might have a large turnout for that in Hythe. So the best thing to do might be something different, which is if you would be so kind enough as to permit us use of the pitch at the market on Tuesday so that we can engage with the public there. So grateful. So it's a nice sort of different idea too.
Yeah. Again, this is subject to agreement.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. James, would you be happy to take some questions?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I actually haven't got a question, sure. You have always to say. I think it's clear that the local residents in Waterside support keeping the New Forest together. It's clear that this is a government initiative and it's a very complex situation. It's very complex for the councils involved in it, both the county council and the district council. It's particularly the district council because it's been hit from both directions and split in half. So it's far more extra work the officers than it is for the others. So I think we should do what we think our residents want us to do. And I support the idea of this council supporting the principle of keeping the New Forest together, because I think it's what they want and it's the right thing to do. And it's hard. And as regards allowing to have a pitch to talk to residents, I would fully support that. Thank you, Councillor West.
Yeah, I've got a few questions for you, James, if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course.
In the letter that we've given in this, in the pack, it says, it asks us as parish council to pass a resolution to support the process commenced by New Forest District Council. Now, my understanding is that New Forest District Council have gone through a process. They have had a barrister's opinion, and the barrister's opinion basically states that there isn't grounds for judicial review. So, are you now changing what you're asking us to do? Because if we were to support that process, well, they've gone through that process and they've not found the grounds. But are you now changing?
No, because at the moment that process is not over. Let's be clear. So, though their barrister has said that they believe that there is no likelihood of success for judicial review, that is not to say, I think that likely, that is not to say that the district would not say, well, actually, we're still going to go for it anyway. And it's not to say that the district may not state that they will work with the county in their option of seeking the judicial review. In which case, again, that's part of the process that we would endorse. We were obviously at the time of writing that, we're very pleased that the district were the first out of the stable, so to speak, to actually initiate the process. So hence why we're asking for that endorsement.
Okay, so what you're asking for is
Just interceding with saying the district council hasn't actually made a decision on this yet. Right? And whether it is it was floating around in. This is the third of June.
just to be clear,
I just want to make that clear. It's
Yeah. our papers are correct. You are asking us to pass a resolution to support the process commenced by New Forest.
Yeah.
Fine. Okay. Which is a different thing to supporting your campaign. Can I just ask one thing? You say you've got barrister's opinion.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you willing to share that with the council?
Once we have finalised the notes from that meeting, absolutely, I'm happy to share it. And I intend to share it with the county council as well, so that if there's any information in there which is pertinent to their case, and they.
Thank you. Do you know roughly when that will be?
No, I would have hoped by the end of the week, but more likely next week. The barrister basically is going to the notice of the moment following the meeting and covering all that.
Okay. I've had some residents who have been quite alarmed after reading some of the literature that you and fellow campaign members have produced, because you've used language like our home torn apart. And people, this has caused anxiety. I don't believe that our home is going to be torn apart. I do accept that there are very serious concerns about the fact that New Forest District Council is going, as an administrative area, is going to be split up under this proposal. But our home is not going to be torn apart. So why did you say our home is going to be torn apart?
I think we, as a campaign, have been. I think our home is being torn apart. We're not talking about the New Forest District Council. We are implicit in everything you said, the New Forest District. And if you speak to the likes of the New Forest Association and other such similar community groups, they will be clear as we are that actually doing this and making this administrative change, you do risk an urban-centred authority on the doorstep of the forest, potentially building the sorts of homes which the city themselves have stated they need over the next 20 to 30 years to expand economically and socially in a way which could have serious ecological impact on the rest of the forest. As as Lord Montague himself too wrote to us and stated himself. So I do have serious fear about what we consider as a campaign, the tearing up of our home district. I think there are long-term repercussions to this that have not fully been considered or thought about properly.
Thanks for clarifying our home district.
But we have
an additional question.
But perhaps we have made that clear in everything.
That's right. Can I just take one from Alex?
Sure, yeah.
Alex.
It's just really to say the point, really, is that if we haven't already, I do think it's important and councillors can play a part, and so I'm not asking officers to take the brunt of this. Those words from Mr. Bundes to make sure there's enough information about the campaign, about LGR, what it means, what impact on the town and parish council, what the ongoing work means for the districts and the council, what will happen if it goes ahead, shadow elections. There's a lot going on. Because the councils, with respect to the campaign, have that plan as if it's going ahead. Because we're supposed to have shadow elections in under a year, and we don't even know how councils are going to get. Lots of people who've spoken to me before they say it is a topic of conversation more than meetings, frankly. And I do think that we as a parish council, who are not decision makers, will be impacted by the fact we're going to be having relationships that we could have assets that pass down to us that we didn't wish to have. We could have new tree bin contracts that are somewhat unfriendly and again impact our presets. There's already misunderstanding about what the parish does anyway, that this is going to be done to us. So with any information we can share about the process, about what NFTCH has done, about the campaign, and links, even if links is really useful on our website, so we can make people as informed possible, because there's a lot going on about this in various facets. So there's much information we can share online, and links through our website, through our social media will be welcome.
May I ask you, sorry. Yeah, may I ask just one question first? It seems the big winners out is the lawyers. Just that the barrister you had, you had conversations with the county, so there's days or something.
If we asked them to, she said she's prepared to do that, yes.
Thank you, just to clarify.
No, it's a good point, Mark, because
Having of information rather than charging lots of people the same money right across the piece.
No, absolutely. And if I might just say that, I know that East Hampshire and Hammond, I think it is, have both said that they are willing to contribute to support the JR started by the county council in terms of legal fees as well.
Thank you. Thanks for that.
Yeah, my concern, there are two issues that our residents are concerned about. One is, as Stacey, splitting up the forest. But the other one they're really exercised about is being part of Southampton.
Mm.
Now, the county council's lobby is for the whole of the New Forest to go with Southampton.
Mm.
So I can't see a solution going forward where we're going to avoid that, whether we are doing that as part of a smaller community split from the rest of the forest, or whether we do that as a whole community as part of the whole New Forest. So that's not really been addressed in a lot of the literature going out to residents. How is that going to be broached?
So, with respect, I don't think it's for us to make that decision on what the new model looks like. Let's be clear, the judicial review does initiate, if the judicial review is pursued by the county, it is entirely within the powers of the Secretary of State to decide to engage with the county and say, look, please let's go to the courts, let's have an open dialogue. And they don't have to actually reconsult the public. They just have to sit down with those in authority and come up with a better model. Now, Nick Adams-King has stated, obviously, you rightly say, Councillor Dowd, that he would have preferred the county model, which was the whole of Test Valley, the New Forest, Eastleigh and Southampton together. However, in a meeting at Chilworth Nursing and Roundhams the other day, public meeting, he was implicit that if it was the wishes of the public and the council to still pursue the Nick Atchell model, he thinks that there is still a greater financial case to back that up than there is the current model of splitting the New Forest. Although, incidentally, it's interesting what you say, because we have started to engage in this question, because I think we're now at a point in the process where you're right, we do need to start saying, okay, well, if this doesn't happen, what are the alternatives? What does the public want? And I have to be honest, as a campaign, we need to make that decision and we'll begin that process. But I have to be honest, I have been surprised when you speak to people in the Western Forest, and we've been out there a lot over the last 2 weeks, how many people are actually saying, do you know what, if it was the whole of the forest and the whole of Test Valley in an authority with Southampton and Eastleigh, I could live with that, because there's a nice demographic split there between an elderly population, the rural areas, and younger, more urban population, the ability to potentially fund those social services. So there isn't as much anxiety about that as I had initially thought there might be. And I myself have come round to that option. It's the breaking up of our community that people are against.
The issue, because we are a council here,
Yes.
so obviously we are listening to people
Yeah.
on the water side, and that isn't the impression that I'm getting from residents here. They are really upset about being locked into Southampton. That overrides, I think, everything else for a lot of people. So that situation, because my worry is there are people out there thinking if we get the forest together, that's going to solve that issue that they're concerned about.
Then
That's the problem.
Then the modelling of the mid-Hampshire model, which was business case was submitted to the government, would be the model that I'm sure that the council will seek to implement.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Wilson.
Thank you. Your campaign is very impressively run. You've got some excellent materials, including that social media campaign, very expertly. So well done for that. And so I need to clarify what your position might be, although it doesn't sound like you've reached a definitive position yet. But if you are asking this council to endorse you as a New Forest together, and yet we don't know what you want. So are you the kingmaker here, or what? If we say, yes, James Hartley wins this campaign, we support that, and then you come make your decision tomorrow, what will that be? Will it look like we have supported that because we've supported you, we've supported your campaign?
No, we are run by a committee of very supportive volunteers, and volunteers more broadly, some of which are here this evening.
Right.
We are being quite clear, actually. March Parish Council made a similar point, which was, let's have an open dialogue. Actually, let's sit down around the table sometimes with parish representatives or parish councillors and have a discussion as this process unfolds about what that looks like, and what the models are. So no, absolutely not. If we said our preference would be to join BCP tomorrow, that you're not endorsing that. One of our requests to Councillor Cleary will be, that she's asked to have a conversation, would be that we would set up some form of stakeholder group, which would obviously include the parish council, business, community stakeholders. We are a CIC now, we're a community interest company, and that would be the place in which those sorts of decisions, I think, should be made to us.
Thank you. But none of you were elected.
No.
And virtually, Jill clearly recognises you're very powerful and she wants to have a conversation with you. That's great for you. But you're not elected. How do we know what you're going to decide? So endorsing you and your campaign endorsing the New Forest District Council process, which is what your letter was. Fair enough. Just one final question. I had a look at your material, not exhaustive because there's an awful lot of it. But nowhere in it do you declare any political affiliation. I wondered why not.
Because we don't have a political affiliation.
You personally, because you are obviously front and centre of this campaign.
Yeah.
Right. And you don't declare any political affiliation. Why not?
I don't see why I should. Who knows if I've even got a party membership anymore? It's not about that. This is about the community.
Well, presumably you don't.
But why is that anyone's good? Why
Are you willing to say? You know, just for sake of transparency.
I don't
produce an
I
opinion.
don't think that's got anything to do with this campaign. We're absolutely right as a campaign to put political pressure on any of the representatives so that we get the best answer. And if that means sometimes, I'm sorry, but if that means sometimes making it slightly difficult or uncomfortable for candidates of all political parties to try and make sure that when elections are over, they start firmly behind trying to keep the New Forest together, then we will do that. That is the objective. I have no, I'm not sorry for that. I don't care what anyone's party politics are. We've got people in our campaign of all political persuasions. That's absolutely how it should be. The fundamental thing here is that we, as Councillor Ray himself has said, we are all New Forest residents, we're all New Forest people, and that is absolutely front and centre of the campaign.
Thank you. The reason for asking that question is that some residents have suggested to me that part of your motivation is that you might use this for future political battle because they're aware of your long history in the Conservative Party and holding multiple positions. Been before you tonight about whether you're even a Conservative Party member anymore. Well, you know, so is that, but perhaps you could say, is it the case that you might in future use the fact that you have initiated this campaign and run it as part of the future political campaign to seek election?
So in the past, I obviously was a member of this parish council. I was a district councillor for the Conservative Party. I was a cabinet member. But that should not bear any relation on what we're trying to do as a campaign. And this point is not on the agenda. In terms of any future political aspiration I might have myself, I haven't given that consideration. I wasn't a candidate in the local elections just gone, was I? But with respect, sir, this has got nothing to do with what's on your agenda this evening. This is about New Forest people.
Council.
Can I just say something back, please?
Can I sort of bring this round to close? I did make close here, but I want to make sure one problem with that is that every council leader in Hampshire wanted something different. That is true. Yeah, it was something different. Because you all wanted something different, it was easy for the government to come in and decide what they wanted to look at. Now, we have, I mean, I was there at the council, and look, hugely from that bit. The Liberal Democrats voted against putting a New Forest for Southampton because residents don't want it. Right? In that situation, no chance. We were also at the New Forest when voted to put the New Forest with Winchester and East and to Ted Mary, because that was the least unfavourable option. Personally, I would left it all as it is. That's just the first option, right? That's the way it is. However, we have been asked, do we support the forest? And I believe our residents would want us to say yes. I would want to say yes, because I think we as a council would want to say yes. Because that's, we're here to represent people of Hyden Dicklin. That's what we want. So I am happy to propose we support the campaign. You should say that, because I think it's the right thing to do. How the campaign goes is in the hands of very highly paid lawyers. And it may not go the way we want. The way those people great. If it doesn't, well, we try. But the important thing is we should support the principle of keeping the forest together. Preferably not with Southampton, but that would probably give it in front of its hand to it. So it's better to support the principle of keeping the forest together. I think that's the politically appropriate response. And like I said, and I would support
letting them have pitch on the market to talk to the residents, because again, it's the right thing to do.
Is that a proposal?
As a proposal,
I'm happy to second the proposal.
Any other proposal?
Sorry, what exactly is your proposal, Malcolm? Sorry, because you're conflating two things here.
Yeah.
It's fair enough to say we support keeping the New Forest together, but then you also said we're happy to support the campaign.
no.
So is your proposal simple? Like we support keeping the New Forest District together in a future option somehow.
No,
Is that
no.
fair?
Ben is absolutely right. Green government. So I propose that this council supports keeping the concept of the New Forest as an entity together, which is what the campaign, I believe, is to be. And secondly, I like to support them having a free pitch in the month so they can continue. Because that's what our residents want us to do. That's what I want to do, because we all want to talk about it together. Is that okay?
Yeah. That's all fairly clear to me. Charles?
So obviously to second that, obviously we have to reword, because obviously this was written before the discussion was had about having a pitch versus using the parish hall, because obviously high number happens they do work in that sense. So it's effectively to second Councillor Gray was to make sure that, as is in the agenda, that item B should be worded to suggest pitch on the high Tuesday market instead. I think that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, is that your understanding too? Because, so we have that as an option.
Can we get the officers to read back what exactly it is now being asked to vote to work?
Right, I within the parish council support the concept of keeping the New Forest together. That's what I have.
Okay. The New Forest as an entity together.
Yeah. Whatever wording you think is broken.
I don't know, it's important because you're actually talking about the New Forest District Council administrative area. That is what we're talking about. So I think
I think so. That supports the concept of keeping the New Forest together. Who said anything about it?
that's what they should be. The New Forest District Council area together. It's the New Forest District Council area together.
No, it's no.
Isn't that what we because it's the New Forest District Council.
Council.
This people are identified with areas. The areas tend to fall into kind of grasp the right word, something like into official areas. Like Hampshire is a county, right? And Hampshire. The New Forest is an area. It's also a local council. Hampshire is the county. So the New Forest together, instead of being split between different unitary authorities, we want it in one unitary authority. Because if it will end up in one eventually, preferably one of our choosing. But the point is, it's keeping it as a concept together. If you split an area up into different unitary authorities, there is a level of losing part of its natural identity. And that's what cultural identity.
I exactly what you're saying, it's just the word, it's really interesting. I think what I'm saying is keeping our proposal is to keep the New Forest District Council area together.
Councillor.
I can see where Ben's coming from. Hewitt Glass, Downton, and all of those areas that are just inside Wiltshire has been they're not. They are part of the New Forest, but they're in Wiltshire. They're still part of the New Forest. I can understand what Ben is saying. It's basically keeping the district area together, not splitting our district. So I don't see there being a problem with putting that word in. Because
Yeah. Can I ask James, what's your definition? What banner is New Forest together? What do you mean?
We think the district, because you're quite right, there is that nuance. So it's the New Forest district area, that's what you said.
Ben?
New Forest District area.
There we go.
Right, we're all happy.
I can do that.
Let's move on. District area. together.
Wessex together.
Yeah, so no, I'll tell you why. Because we do what give the idea. If we forest here, you ask the ordinary person in the street, they think that the national park is being split down the middle. They think that the National Park Authority is going to disappear. They think that the new forest, the national park is going to be built on with thousands of homes because of this language which is being used. And I understand when you're running it, you don't use precise language. You use deliberately colourful, evocative, apocalyptic. We are not in that business. But thank you.
Sure.
And will you move this on so we can have you clarify what we're voting on? I think you vote yeah. Okay.
So, sure. Can you just read?
I think the parish council is not concept, it can be part of this, yes, and we agreed to talk with kids
Yeah, Tim.
and look like with, small on the mark rather than that,
Yeah.
lot full.
Yeah. Thank you. Are we all agreed on that? Members?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
And you can stay on. Can I thank you? I mean, you're very welcome to stay, but you've been one of these before, I think, James.
Yeah, fear of mine.
You know what the rest of it's like. But you are very welcome to stay if you want. But otherwise, thank you, and thank you to everyone.
No, thank you very much.
Thank you the rest of your life.
Can I say something just cool?
No.
I joined the campaign, so I came to live in the New Forest. And I think in the New Forest, at the high. Your definition of this, I totally understand, correct. But I believe I'm the New Forest. And there's no politics. If politics are ever mentioned on our website, it's shut down. We've got people campaigning and to tell they come from buses and different buses. And they're supportive because we genuinely think and believe for the New Forest. We've not been hidden by it. We've not been persuaded by it. We're just people with genuine feelings. And certainly, that's all I'd like to say. Nice to support them so much. I think it works so hard. And that's all.
That's very kind. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Okay, let's move back to the original agenda then. There are no announcements from the chair. We've now got reports by council on different members. Just while we help for different moves. Yeah. Thank you, James. Good night.
Thank you.
Good evening. Good night. Good night. Good night. Thank you so much. So we are going to first of all take and I should welcome Paul. Paul. Come and join us.
Thank you very much, Mark, for that addition.
So it's a pleasure to sit down. Yeah. So South Waterside, introduce yourself.
So, first, congratulations to both chairs for your new positions. I'm sure this is not your first rodeo in the chair, but lots of luck with that. Thank you for inviting me. And thank you for the work that you do. I know it's not easy. Sometimes it feels like thankless tasks. But you do plenty of job, I'm sure. So, my name is Paul Barrett. I live in Tottenham. I've lived there with my wife 25 years and 2 children. I'm a former paratrooper in my early days. And I'm a manager now for a technical company. I've served my country, and I continue to serve it, and I just serve in that in a more local way. Yes, I love our area, I love our residents, a lot of them that need our support. I'm happy to work with anybody. It's not fiscal or not serious, nothing to do with that, just work with people. Work with Malcolm, etc. in the chamber, just to do the best for our residents. Anybody's got any questions, by all means, my door is always open and I'll help you best I can. Thank you very much.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much. Is there any before we finish, I mean, any members got questions for Councillor Buffett? Can you introduce?
My name is Rose Waits. I am a councillor. I have central parish council. My question is, have you had an opportunity to talk to engage with previous incumbent and hand over casework, particularly on the impacts this kind of section and eye, or have you had any information from the parish council? So I appreciate that person's the
That's a really good question, and I've been getting a lot of feedback, certainly from the Crawley Parish Council members that I've engaged with, that people don't know me. since then, I certainly have, with all the various pledge emails that I've been endorsing Saturdays, got a couple of projects running at the moment, help some speeding down the Gloucester Road, which we all know. I'd like to speak to anybody who's got any information on the copy for the nursery, so I think we can work together on that. We did the emergency service day the other day, which was a splendid turnout. I got to meet all of the various heads in our area. And slowly building on that. It's building those relationships, getting to know what things do, and finding my own thing to see how I can support this work. That's what's up there.
So, Ben Wednesday.
Hello, Ben.
Thank you very much for coming. It's great, actually. I don't remember, I've been in this parish council 2 years ago from seeing the previous council of the South Wiltshire side. And it'd be great to hear if you have any thoughts. You don't have to share them tonight, but I'm very conscious in other work I do that the South Wiltshire side really suffers from parts of it having extremely poor service. You would probably be aware that the council lost half its weekday buses in 2024.
Yeah.
And actually our parish benefited from the way the buses were rejigged, but South Wiltshire side lost out, or council lost out. And also, they're very, very poor cycle routes. I know families who live in Forley, who attend the Little Academy, their children can't cycle to school, something that I did as a kid. And if you have any interest in those issues whatsoever, your predecessor appeared to show zero interest in those issues. I'd love to do it.
So, Ben, let me address the first one, council bus service. I've been down there, I've spoken to several residents. This impacts two sorts of people. Elderly residents who cannot no longer get to Tottenham and Southampton. Also, young people trying to Dockenhurst, trying to get to school, trying to get to colleges. Furthermore, they shut the footpath down from Albion Creek. Thank you.
Yeah.
They shut that down and they afforded up the footpath. So they've blocked two areas down. Been down there this weekend taking some photographs. And I'm now trying to find out how do we take tackle to get that reopened on the bus route. That is certainly on my radar at the moment. I'm learning how slow council work. We're used to doing things quite quickly.
Yeah.
And I've just learned easily on that.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Ben, me, Councillor Allison, we have a quite good relationship. Not a good one, because it doesn't really do what we want, but we're previously at the start. So we do go occasionally and back to and he's came to that.
Those of you who've got any information, then email to me. Business starts and learn. And email, so we'll email and work really on this. That really appreciate it. You guys have been on the ground longer than I have. So any information you've got will be good to you.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you, Paul. We hope you'll point out quickly to us. Over to you, Council then.
First of all, congratulations from you, Chairman, Vice Chairman, welcome to Council Barrett. So if I can give, thank you, now, I'm beautiful. No, I'm not beautiful, but I am not going to do anything about beautiful West information. So I've got some other interesting information you can come to life. I will make reference to something which I always intended to say. I was very fortunate and successful in the last election and having more votes than I had before. And a lot of that is due to the work we do in the community, but a lot of it is due to people around this table. Because you bring things to my attention, you raise issues that need addressing, and you're part of the whole team that helps make the Democrats look after the residents of the good. And I want to pay tribute to that because it is okay, it was my own about, but it was all the work that you did that helped me be successful in that. Now, what I have to bring to your attention, one of the councils around here said, why don't you tell us about all the important things going on? Which is why I'm deviating from the report. Well, I'm seeing Aaron's people on next week on Friday with the MP. Now, it's about response times because response times in Forest and the side are slower than the average across the STARS area. 2, we are waiting for APB to come back to us for a meeting. 3, we are working on ferries in various other areas. But the A326, I have some solid information on this one. I've said this today that Hampshire is putting in a planning application for all the work of the A326. And perhaps council that would really be interested in listening to this because the A326 plans do a lot for Marchmore and Tottenham, but very little for Hyde and Dibden and South Waterside, which I'm happy to share with them outside this meeting. Why I brought it particular attention here, there is this public consultation which starts on the 5th of June and ending on the 17th of July. I've already told the county council I would be responding to this. It was a good idea to go on how I want to do it. But I think this council should respond. And I would suggest that it goes to the planning committee probably, because that will be the earliest committee to be able to get response in this bid. I don't think there's another council meeting to do it. So, and the planning committee sounds to me as the appropriate vehicle for this council. And you might want to invite other members to contribute who are on the plan.
Can we put on something? Absolutely.
I was going to say, very large, done an awful lot of work with the planning inspector, the sponsor, did the vote too.
Yeah.
Which particularly was upon the A326 so that can conflict.
Right, good, thank you.
Yeah, can I just add one further point? I cannot stress enough how important it is we have a really cohesive argument on the issues about this. Because I will be an end, I can take those issues to the county council. Our colleague from South Waterside to do the same, because their residents like us could be just the end of the long traffic jam and then all the money going to work with all the traffic coming through. So this is a really important.
Okay, any more? That's it, we're done. Let's go around for district councillors, Hans.
Obviously, you've seen the report I sent around about the Andy Council Overland, that it is very encouraging to see an FDC finally allocate chair roles and vice chair roles in scrutiny and other committees to non-agreeing members, Councillor Dowd, Councillor McCarthy, and GPL and appeals respectively, and I myself will be on resource of transformation, which covers LTR, the organisation, and finance. I'll be doing this year. Really welcome to see. Councillor Owen, who's the vice chair, she will be chair by Councillor and Councillor. We've been to see delivery on the Waterside. Obviously, many of the process is working very well, and information will be shared with residents. However, there are still some issues over system collection points, bin sizes, land agreements, data reporting. Local councils are trying to raise issues with the NFS waste supplies team. We are still getting these collection reports. And on the police station, the planning committee know this, and I have questions on how NFS communicates residents. Those reports like the cyber claims, and in early August, it's likely to be the planning inspector's visit meeting. So that's our opportunity. The Parish Council did an incredible job this week with Marcus by adding to our additional comments for this, which we are absolutely against. I do also have some slightly late news I wish to share with you.
Breaking news.
Breaking news now. Everyone's very excited on the cabinet papers to do with LTR. Fine. There's one thing that they miss in that there is a recommendation that's going to cabinet in June where they're going to make changes to council grants. It's to continue the mandate for media role in funding routes, the services you gain, to fund the two community transport schemes, to amend the revenue grant process, moving away from the centrally administered approach to increase more council power
So council grant for last year of NFPC will go up to 2,500 from 1,000 recommended. They will be relying on an annual still grant process, which leads to raise capital and allow proceeds from the community lottery to be distributed by the service manager for revenue benefits, service and consultation portfolio holder for community safety. Now, obviously, the devil's in the detail. We need to interrogate more because there are. This equates to an annual saving of £131,000. And where will local groups benefit and where will they lose out? Is this as good as it sounds? Obviously, there are times for it to be interrogated, but they are looking for savings to forecasted budget deficit. But individual councillors do well when they have a higher grant. So that's a positive. But I do think there will be an mention of this as well.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor. That's very interesting. For a district council point of view, what council and possibly the role is this parish. Well, Councillor Dowd.
No, nothing of any interest this time.
Right, nothing from me either. Councillor Wade.
Well, just a few things. I won't get into that. But it is quite important. We've gone from a no overall control administration to minority administration because the council and Glasgow will resign. There is an election. And it was really pleasing to be able to negotiate services to get some committee chairs. We have Philip being the chair of Revenue Public Devices and Cotton Things over 30 chairs is probably nearly, I have to say, 25 years. It is 25. And this was too long become, and Alex is a deputy chair of the field. The problem is, I made a comment earlier about the district council. It really is in because the amount of work involved in one council going to another council is enormous. But with district council, it's been split 45-55, roughly. Now, there's no massive amount of work because they're doing it twice, effectively. It's something to give because I simply open up and see it coming and it's this amount of work. And they haven't even looked yet at the county council. Sorry. So, because the county council hasn't had a look to decide. The only other point you need to is about doing committees because there's the original idea that will be represented by one person, not to come in now. Then there was some business. So I've been engaged with this, and they've got a perfectly capable individual on it now, but they're not with the experience and knowledge, even if they're fit to enjoy this a little bit, because 3 or 2 years council district is. But we see when it comes to the vote how they'll do. But it's not a challenging time. We as this district, as a parish council, need to be really hot on any opportunity that comes up, because the district council is also looking at any devolving any assets or things down. It has to be in the near future because the SCA, they might be what it means. The actual agreements that changes comes out in the autumn, and after that, they can only spend $1 million capital, 100,000 revenue without asking permission from the charity, which is the next challenge.
Thank you very much indeed, Councillor. Okay, let's. Is there any questions for councillors? We haven't absolutely indeed. I was taking out the first thing, but oh yes, I see them. Let's do outside what is in that first. Anybody has such a good report? And so that
I haven't submitted the report, but I will, because it was in the minutes about the tourism group, where you raised a question about the arts funding, and the fact that there are local groups that don't appear to know who to apply for, apply to, and what's happening is that the whole point of the funding is it's seed funding for things that then should be able to take over. And so we had quite a lively meeting about that. After that meeting, I contacted the district council officer who's taken on the role of coordinating the district council's response to us. And that was on the 8th of April, and I still haven't had a response yet. So I will be following that one up. Thank you.
Any other reports from outside boards? Alice?
Yeah, just to let you know that I've had it confirmed thanks to County Council that if it's based on an initiative of age concern, that anyone who wishes to look at it to the tip, the trip to the tip, then they and obviously it's online only, access to shop. Concerned about it, they can go down to the age concern office in Hyde and they do. I did have to ask a few GDPR questions, but County Council find that age concern have very good GDPR information on policies that I'm aware of. So I just wanted to share that information.
Any other outside bodies? I have one myself, which is the Heritage Committee. We had AGM, which lasted 5 minutes. It was a long, very long one. And then it was very interesting to talk about Williams Shipping. Get bridge barges up down the south, which is very interesting. Actually, but it did indicate how vibrant the maritime community is across the water and how many jobs there are unfilled by youngsters because the water is not being utilised very much for youngsters.
This is a conversation Sean and I had when we went to ABP's. There was Solar Steve Doors also save residential jobs. The Solar Steve Doors website, you cannot find any jobs with them. It is go to an agency and then it's agency work. So Williams Shipping reckons they've got jobs. I think they need to make it very, very clear to people whether or not they're agency jobs and then they pick out the agency workers, or whether or not there's actually jobs. Because I know people around here who are looking for apprenticeships and all the rest of it, and no one seems to be able to get a foot in the door at either the refinery, unless they're really clever, or somebody that over at the port. So absolutely, they're not doing enough to make people on this side or on that side know that those jobs are available. Because you can't find them, because I looked. That was a conversation I had with that.
You been a name I'll speak at that. So Mr. Williams himself.
No, that's because next time.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's move to any further from public forum. We haven't got anybody here. Any questions? No, right. And then let's take questions, brief questions from other councillors. Two councillors in there. That's always so.
Yeah, just a quick question about the various outstanding things on Hyde Ferry. I'd like to know from anybody if we've had any responses. A, from us, B, from Red Fund, C, from Alison Welsh, who's written a letter to us, but it's stated confidential, so we can't talk about it until we decide whether it really is confidential or not. And then D, anything else that I forgot?
I'll just respond to them.
Sure.
Second point is I resent an email today to them.
Yeah.
Asking parents if they're surrendering this and they send it to us. I don't know if Fran's original email address, which was the Hyde Ferry that we were using as a commission, is still valid. So I've now sent it to James Slocker, who is Fran's PA, using the red funded areas, the red funded email address. So I should wait a couple of days and then try to James again. Okay. And the third one, Ben, can you remind me?
Alison Welsh did write a letter. It said a few couple of interesting things. But it didn't mention.
That's correct. I heard back this afternoon as it came through that we can publish a better outsource to do that.
Fantastic. Yeah, I just think, it's not like it was earth-shattering, but it's hugely interesting. Sorry? Well, no, but it's worth, that's, he made certain commitments, and that would be then based on the system set. So values in that. And the fact is more than that. The fact that he has responded and we published that, it kind of shows, well, I haven't had a response to other letters. He's got micro pressure on the track.
Can we say, have you ever sort of seen that, Mr. Hampton, or did it just go to? I haven't seen it. I've seen that, okay. It'll go up tomorrow, subject to
That's
that,
right.
it's quite from the end of the
Maybe
year.
you're absolutely right, so you might nudge people to do this. Councillor Wade.
I've got a question for the council and a question for you. So my question is for the county council, and indeed actually council as well. Please can you ask how the additional 15 million towards road resilience schemes will be allocated, spent and administered? All members, such both themselves know this was advertised and mentioned in the full council meeting. We find an opportunity to highlight high priority roads and request earlier maintenance than currently scheduled. For example, on that road, St John Street, which I'll be honest with you, is mentioned pretty much every other door in the campaign. Furthermore, you asked what the timeline is expected for routes to the main road, and that reminds saying specific Mango, maintenance of these are main roads in the state. My second question is, the HCC leader also mentioned in the video he is intending on disruption charging targeting utility companies for the construction costs to local communities and roads, and most importantly, businesses. How is this facilitated, and will this be talked to all council urgently relevant to us earlier, and will be consideration be given about any charges contributing towards local business compensation for loss of trade? These are two things that be very public about coming out, but I want a bit more detail about it and how we can benefit in our neighbourhoods. So those are my questions for the county council to take away.
Right, okay. Well, let me tell you, we've been able to borrow the email. Straight off, we're getting these answers. So I might have to find the third weeks. But okay, the first question is this. Right, the 15 million has only just been announced by the leader of the council, who is still awaiting details on how the session funding will be allocated. This includes the assistant director of finance. I can say, however, that the team will always use established highway asset data to determine where funding should be directed. This ensures those the sites and the greatest and why. So it's saying there that it doesn't, when engineers say priorities are. Sometimes those priorities need a bit of big. The second question about name like that, it's up on the Lane. He's going to then wait for an assessment on that to continue. The third one of that, the leader mentioned this in the video, he's intending standing on disruption charging utility companies. I did say something else. I'll have to forward the email to you because we did do that. But this was, this is something that other county councils do charge utilities. But if they find the work done on the road isn't required standard, they will go and will go and come back and charge them for it. Hampshire hasn't done this, but he's talking about doing something, which is remarkably sensible. Should have done it for years.
Can you share this with all
Yeah,
parents?
I'll send it around, send it to you now.
Is Councillor Barrett, do you want to add anything to that? Or?
No, I think Councillor Hampton's covered it quite well. On the reallocation of budget, it was only announced, I believe, last week, 15 million for roads. So, yeah, just to reiterate, it's not been allocated yet. You raised a valid point.
Thank you very much.
I found it on let me just go back to the answer, Jamie. Next, you see the video that is intending on disruption charging targeting utility companies for the disruption caused to the communities and roads and most importantly businesses. How will this be facilitated and will this be brought to full council urgent? And will consideration be given about any charge?
That's my question.
Your question, wasn't it? I'm sure I'll find sorry. But it's nice to see I'm currently reviewing the council's application for lane rental powers. And we hope to hear the outcome later this year. 50% of the income generated from each charging straight higher maintenance, the other 50% is available to all contributors, i.e. including utility companies for congestion cost initiatives. Funding cannot be used directly to support local business. That's not the correct answer. That answer would never.
Yes.
It was more of a, probably more of a male question. Can we do a little thing of event to remind everybody in the parish? What is parish? What is district? What is council?
It's also a bit of a fashion thing, you know, you do think something that wasn't ours, kind of like, didn't it,
We did go today, but it was, you know, at the end of the day, people might be more informed or we could share that, so we do that group.
You can do that, of course.
Because, boy, you got a lot of people on top of the greens in the highway.
So, Councillor White. First of all, please to is the chairman aware that the youth drivers are suffering severely from the disruption caused by SGN and it's affecting their businesses quite considerably? And I have written to the parish council and Mr. Extended requesting that some action be taken. I think the council is draft the issue and against that.
Now, you may see that 50 years out, posted a very clever Facebook post today. You know, we've got quite a wide circulation. Paul Emily, Emily is one of the parish council officers. She's the community engagement officer. She walked around, did 2 paralegal today, clearly front all shots in the blazing heat. And put out a list of we need to support other shots we did with paralegal. Then they posted that this afternoon when she got back. And I'm hopeful that we share the news on.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that I'm hoping the traders will see that, which demonstrates this council does support other traders.
Thank you very much. And the second one is the chairman of my answer, some members are that the council is having a really problem collecting leaking crops from a number of residents, and I've copied the district council from there in wards that complain that their food waste and their ordinary waste are not being collected on the days they're supposed to. I have forwarded all of these to the assistant operations director and whether Liz, what's her name, Jarvis, and she's in charge. The real event, well now, is that any question that circumstances are less as soon as possible.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? That's all right.
Says the chairman's aware, following on from the exit video I saw from the earlier, that once the road works completed post term, there could be an opportunity to possibly with council putting in support to see if there's any event we can put on the digital further centre area primarily, because that's what the shops may benefit from us taking proactive leads on that, because obviously we do feel like it's most setting up to do that. And even just a small event to show some support, that'd be welcome.
Thank you. It's a very good point. Appreciate it. Thank you. Any other questions? No? Right, let's move on. Number 14, should we receive an update on how wonderful our Girdle building?
Yeah. So I think one of the things to add to the report is all that.
No, I think it's still there. All we're asking for today is to know the report, and unfortunately we're asking you to agree a quotation for asbestos removal. As you can see, we've gone out to another company rather than use our traditional one. We just thought that their price starting to creep a little bit, and see that we've got better competitive price there.
Any concerns, any comments? Are we all agreed?
These are the names.
There we are. Off we go. Marvellous, thank you very much. And any update on structural instructions? So,
Starts the intrusive work starts tomorrow, so we can probably more and hold the people, hold the ceiling, holes in various places in the floor, and so ground floors are holding the ceiling, first floors are closing the floor. The surveyors can do Friday market
Yes.
to inspect what we can see through the inspection holes and new structures through to this dimension and tube doors. As soon as the inspection surveyor see it, they've got buildings inside as well. So holes open, inspected on Friday, Colesfield, so then we could turn Monday and the building safe.
Yeah. Will it help with this effect stuff? Do that? Will it? Can you get on to work at home?
We are looking into the different scenarios. It's going to be painless and noise and like that. As you know, we've got people now to actually move. So we've got the phone system. So anybody from outside would not know the difference if they were ringing and leaving them this.
Your office must be a sweatbox.
It won't be sort of whole.
Thanks. So it'd be the quote, and that's the update.
Yeah. Mr. Happy, any questions? No, we're good. Okay. Let's move on. Finance, routine finance, receipt of thanks, reconciliation report. Any questions on that? So we can approve the accounts for payment for April 26. Okay, so proposed, seconded, thank you so much. We've done that. To confirm authorised bank signatories for financial year 26-27. Councillors Vicky Joins, Sean Cullen, Phil Put Down, Alice Wade, Sandra Delaware, Stephanie Oswald, and Matt Wade. And two, that's confirmed. Three?
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you. To confirm, 2 members to agree to pay bank detail changes when required. Sure.
Other members are Councillor Jones and Councillor Shuley.
Are you content to carry on?
Yep.
Fantastic, thank you so much. We're all happy with that?
Yeah.
We are indeed, Marks. To confirm, 2 members to undertake the spot checks on the accounts. Sure.
Same as the same to Councillor Jones and Councillor Shuley.
Happy to carry on with that?
Absolutely.
So agreed?
Yeah, very
Marks. I do like this. End of year finance, 25-26. Receipt of final internal audit for 25-26. Noted. Thank you. To review the effectiveness of the internal audit 25 to 2067. Let's go, Richard.
I've got a dodgy clear one now.
It'll be great on that.
I'm still
To agree that the internal auditor has carried out the internal audit for 25 years, the expected standard agreed specifications and the statement as required. We so agree. Noted. Also noted. Thank you so much, John. To receive the annual accounts for the 526. Paid to bit. Any pickup from any of it?
Thanks.
No. Alex.
Just to ask the officers really, any sort of overview, it looks to me quite encouraging. Some surprises in the budget this year, but there's always next year, yes, I do appreciate that. But is there anything we should be particularly aware of? Anything better or worse than expected?
Yeah, my biggest concern has been for finance this building sharing, but I think if we, the following items go some way to members of addressing the financial impact of the building works and experience. So that's my only thing. And yes, it's very pleasing to have an understanding of the tree budget for the first time in our first years.
Sure. You see it, may I ask you something? And yes, you're going back now. Programs that finished.
So actually, impact isn't progressing at the same rate as we thought.
Right.
So we know we probably guidance and received that.
Yeah.
And then what they're not recommended, we carry out. So we got rid of the ones that were very badly damaged. Some of the younger stuff and the small stuff stopped to put up. So that's the works. Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah.
That's true. And the little reason why the tree budget this year was under was that we were from the district's approved practice and went out for our own. Well done. Because the rates that they would be in charge huge.
We discussed that. Finally, to receive the 25-26 outstanding report with read recommendations. So that's you.
I've got a question about
Sure. We have some those.
I think there is just, I read there's a surplus and the surplus is being used going to be take it from two ways. One is we actually expect it for me, but 100,000 to go for the growth projects.
Yeah, it's certainly observed, yes.
Yeah, and then the other amount just to stay within our accounts.
That's correct, and it's basic, it's called the general reserve.
Yeah.
And we are required in one respect and recommended in another respect to maintain a certain level of general reserves. It's between 3 and 6 months of our pre-tax. It's not in the annual answer. I'll say those figures up. The general reserve at the moment, £700,000 exceeds regulations. So therefore must be about £100,000 to be allocated, so there's sufficient earmarked for this building for it to post it. And then the remaining 48,000, 49,000 will sit in the general reserves, sits within our audit requirements. That money is there to, in order to do something that benefits the community. We can have a agenda item that we discuss and then vote on it. So with the caveat, we must stay within that.
Sure.
3 to 6 month range.
Thanks for explaining that, because I think that's, I don't think we should obviously not waste a penny.
No.
But having an ambition that we're just not we're going to spend less than other people, I don't think that's necessarily laudable in its own right. As opposed to we have the cheapest preset, because have we got the best services? Are we doing everything possible for our community? Have we invested in our facilities when they need? Are we delivering things that we have really discussed would be beneficial, but we say we can't afford? One small example: Malcolm told us last autumn that he thought 20 mile an hour zone was fantastic, but couldn't afford it. Fantastic, couldn't afford it. So I just think if we have the surplus, could we think of ways in which, one other simple example, the Noseway tennis courts have not been refurbished. There is no sinking fund. They have been touched for 40 years. They're unsafe for coaching. They are a facility that we own in very shameful condition. I know that we now pursuing possible NFDC silver, but nonetheless, I think we should look at everything we've got and think we're fully invested.
You could bring this forward as an agenda item.
That is a budget item discussion. So we've started budget process in, I guess, July this year. And as before, I will put a budget to every committee, and that committee can discuss and make agreements and make a proposal to the council.
Towards the amenities committee.
Yes, ones that Ben's mentioned. One,
There could be other things as well. I'm only just saying, I don't want to hold that. I mean, this is just my ideas. Other people should have ideas too.
And we need to look at this slightly holistically. We are the cost of living still. We cannot afford various things. Right? It's a fact of life. And to pretend that's not, it's not really this situation. What we do, we give them first class services. If you ever deal with problems that come out off field, you don't know about, we have the finances to deal with this, because we manage our finances well. And actually, we should be proud that we have the lowest council tax of any council in Waterside and still deliver water services. Now, nobody complains about what Paris do in place. Play areas, we have the place beautiful. We did that. We deal with so we deal with loads and loads of extra things. Now, I totally agree that because of this war with this is the opportunity to go and do something different. That should be put into the budget process. But never let it be said delivering low council tax is a bad thing. If you deliver low council tax for high quality services because we manage our finances better than other councils, that's the situation.
Thank you. So let's move on back to the agenda to approve.
Sorry, sorry.
Well, I was going to say, to approve the annual governance and accountability section 1 government statement. So noted.
I think this one.
Ah,
Quality.
I do beg your pardon.
Speaking of bureaucrat now.
No, please be one.
This form here is what we need to put on.
Yeah.
It's only on our street light, but we agree to those 10 seconds.
That will indeed.
Yes,
Oh,
no.
that's it.
Right. We've put in place arrangements for effective financial management during the year, preparation of the accounting statements. We agree. Agreed. We maintained an adequate system of internal control, including measures designed to prevent and detect fraud and corruption, and reviewed its effectiveness. Agreed. We have assured ourselves that there are no matters of actual or potential non-compliance with laws, regulations, and proper practices that could have a significant financial effect on the ability of this authority to conduct its business or manage its finances. We provide proper opportunity during the year for the exercise of electors' rights in accordance with the requirements of the accounts and audit regulations. We carried out an assessment of the risks facing this authority and took appropriate steps to manage those risks, including the introduction of internal controls and/or external insurance cover where required. We maintained throughout the year an adequate and effective system of internal audit of the accounting records and control systems. We took appropriate action on all matters raised in reports from internal and external audit. We considered whether any litigation liabilities or commitments, events or transactions occurring either during or after the year end have a financial impact on this authority, where appropriate, have included them in the accounting statements. And for local councils only, trust funds, including charitable in our capacity as a sole managing trustee, we discharge our accountability responsibilities for the fund assets, including financial reporting, and if required, independent examination or audit. And finally, we have put in place arrangements for the effective IT data management in accordance with proper practices during the year under review.
Is signed in the box there. That's it. One good best.
Thank you very much indeed. And so we have now got one left. Is that right? Sean, we are just on that one. Thank you very much. And we have the approval of annual governance and accountability, so section 2, accounting statement 25-26. So noted. Not the requirement.
We start to sign over to sign from. So that's it. Let's see.
Yeah.